Welcome to Design Your Way, the podcast that helps you build a creative career that truly reflects who you are. You're finishing your studies or just starting out in the professional world, in architecture, design, or any other creative field, and you're wondering how to navigate this transition, find your path, and build a career that feels meaningful to you. I'm Louise Blanche, a final year student in architecture in France, passionate about creation, communication, and entrepreneurship. Here we talk about everything we don't learn in school. How to land your first job, understand the reality of the profession, how to create your own project, and how to present yourself in a way that attracts the right opportunities. We'll meet twice a month for expert interviews, conversations with other students and young professionals, and some more personal episodes where I will share my reflections and the lessons I've learned along the way. Whether you're a student, a recent graduate, or already starting your career, this podcast is here to support you, to give you practical tools, and to inspire you to move forward at your own pace. So, are you ready to build your career as intentionally as your projects? Welcome to Design Your Way. In this episode, I'll share with you my best productivity tips and strategies that I've gathered throughout my studies so you can use them to boost your productivity too. Hi, welcome back to the podcast. I hope you're doing well. Maybe you are trying to improve your productivity or you have some important things coming ahead like me. I am starting to write my Master Thesis this semester and it's a big milestone, but also a ton of stuff to do. And that's why I've spent the time just to put down everything I know about productivity and how to improve it so I can make the most out of the semester of thesis. Because writing a thesis means a lot of work and also a lot of pressure. There's also a lot of ambition, uncertainty. So if you're going through an intense moment, this podcast is definitely for you. We're in the same boat and you can always adjust everything I'm saying to your own case because we're trying to find the best workflow to be both in quantity and quality, but also sustainable. So let's get started with the first strategy to improve your productivity. So let's start with the first strategy to improve your productivity, and it's blocking the times where you are able to focus the best. This is why most people get productivity wrong. It's not only about how much you can achieve, but also about the quality of it. And one of the most powerful ways to hack it is to actually know your high focus hours. Basically, we all have these moments in the day where everything clicks. We feel like we have superpowers. For some people, it can be early in the morning. For others, it's late at night. It doesn't really matter. Once you know your most productive hours, you need to protect them like your life depends on it. And if you do it, it will literally blow your productivity without you even feeling it. So to do this, you need first to identify your peak focus times. Basically, think what is the moment where I feel like everything is flowing. It's usually a time range between 2 and 4 hours. It's what we could call also deep work. I know for myself that it's in the morning between about 8 and 11, something like this. So I really try to protect these hours when I need to work on something, when I need to get a very important task done, when I need to think about deep stuff, then it's definitely at this moment that I will do it. And because these hours are like super hours, they're worth so much more time. And that's where you can actually do very important and complicated stuff. You really need to protect these hours as much as you can because they are the ones that will make you go forward the most. So schedule deep work tasks during these hours like research or complex design decisions or writing. When I do architecture, it's definitely the moments where I'm trying to ask myself the big questions and to do the big problem solving. And for me, since it's in the morning, to protect these hours, I try to have a pretty consistent sleep schedule and a consistent alarm. So I'm sure that I won't take some time away from these hours. And also I'm really trying not to have interruptions, not to use social media or anything, and really stay focused in the task. So you can time block these hours in your calendar, use Do Not Disturb or some other apps. And if you actually use these hours to the most of their capacity, you will get so much more stuff done. The second hack is about regulating your energy or energy synchronizing. I used to think that productivity was all about managing my time, but I was wrong. The real bottleneck actually was my energy. At first, I'd push through hours of focused work, skipping breaks, skipping meals, and then I wondered why when I left the room, home, I felt fully drained and couldn't even think properly anymore. But writing a master thesis is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And so I really have to integrate some energy resets into my routine, like going outside or doing some exercise or meeting people so that I can make it sustainable. So plan also in your calendar some reset moments that you will be using to just reset your energy, your focus, but also take some of the anxiety or the pressure away. It's so important just to take a step back also, and you will be able to come back with a new view. And for this, it's just doing anything that is not your work or your project, and also avoiding just scrolling on social media, because you need activities that will fulfill you and that will deeply reset you and not just keep you in this same state. So it can be a physical activity like going for a walk, going to the gym, doing some yoga, for example. It could be some social time with your friends or with your family. Just go out for a coffee with a friend. It will just do so good to talk with someone else and to think about something different. It could also just be some very small breaks, like you're taking a few deep breaths or doing 5 minutes of meditation. Having a meal, it can be a time to reset. So after every 2 to 3 hours of deep work, just put a little reset energy time in there, and so you will feel energized and focused again for the next session. The next hack is to align the task with your energy. I've literally hacked my entire productivity with only this one concept, and it's energy syncing, because all tasks don't require the same amount of energy. And that's why you can sort out the tasks to match the level of energy that you have. But to do this, you need to understand two things. How are your energy levels throughout your day? And which kind of energy do every single task take? And when you start pairing the high energy moments with the most intense work and the low energy moments with the most boring work, the high intensity stuff will actually feel lighter because you will have the amount of energy for it, and the boring task could actually just become enjoyable. You need to understand how your energy fluctuates during the day and match your tasks with it. It will change your productivity without you even feeling it. So for example, I'm sorting my tasks in 3 modes of energy. There's the high energy mode, there's the medium energy, and the low energy. High energy hours would be your deep focus work. So research, complex writing, everything that we've talked about in the first hack. So that's your deep work. Then you have the moderate energy. These could be some lighter tasks like email, organization, collecting material, where you still have to think and take some decisions, but it's a bit more chill. And then you have your low energy hours, and these are the more boring tasks. So it can be doing some editing, for example, or some layout, just things where you need part of your brain and you need some patience, but you're not making super important decisions. I also like to use my low energy hours to just do some very intuitive design. So sometimes I also use these hours as a more creative hour. But the idea is really to match your level of energy with the task and the amount of energy that each task requires. And then you can just put the task at the hours where you are in that energy zone. Next hack is to prioritize sleep, because sleep is a key productivity tool. I think it's what makes the biggest difference. You know how when you've not slept enough, everything feels so daunting, and it feels like you can't focus properly and you can't actually think properly. That's why I'm really trying to prioritize my sleep, to keep a consistent sleep schedule and also to sleep enough every night. Actually, I've been using my Apple Watch to track my sleep. I'm wearing it at night now, and now every single morning I see my sleep score, and I really try to keep it high to very high. And just having the data just makes me want to go to bed a bit earlier or to prioritize it a little bit better. And I've really felt a big difference in both my energy, my mood, and my creativity. So I would really say if you had one thing to do, it would just be to sleep more or sleep better, and it will improve every other aspect of your life and definitely your productivity. And I've also taken away my phone from my night routine. So now I'm literally just reading a book before sleeping, and this has been a great change for my sleep. I just sleep earlier and better, I think. I just fall asleep a little bit easier because I haven't had a screen in front of me. This is so simple, everyone's talking about it, but definitely when you start reading a book instead of watching a video, you will just fall asleep a little bit earlier. The next hack is about focus and cutting distractions. We've pointed out that your deep work is the most valuable time that you have. This is your highest value output, and you need both to prioritize it, but also to protect it at any cost. And one way of protecting it is to avoid distractions. Because when you're deep in flow, or when you're fully focused and you get a notification on your phone, it can bring you out, and then it's way harder to get back to your task. So really using the do not disturb is awesome. It makes such a big difference. And yeah, you can put your phone in another room, put do not disturb, airplane mode, whatever, but really try to prioritize your focus and avoid all the distractions. Also, if you're working in a loud environment, just putting some AirPods Pro or earplugs can also make a very massive difference. And this is also true for other people, so setting boundaries. So for example, if you have flatmates or you're living with your family, maybe having a little sign so they know that they shouldn't come disturb you when you're in those hours, and then once you're done, then you can come out and they can talk to you. But also trying to be pretty clear and communicate it with the other people so that you don't get the distraction from them. My next hack is also about deep focus, and it's to track your time. I have started doing this when I was writing my thesis, and I had a lot of things to write, and it was, a very hard task to do. I would sit down and I would start scrolling on my phone or checking my emails or thinking about something else and writing it down. And this time that I was spending and putting in my calendar, like I was going to work on this task, I was sitting at my desk, but I wasn't actually working on it. And so I decided to start tracking the actual time that I'm spending working on the task, so on the writing itself. And I would sit down, I would check the time, write down the time, and then go directly to working mode, because I knew this had to be the time where I was working. And so I would work for however long my focus would stay, and then when I would lose focus, usually about 40 minutes in, then I would write the time that it was, and I could really see how much really focused time I could have. And then I would take a break. But the worst thing is just being there and just chilling or procrastinating really, and taking this time outside of relaxing time because you're already in work mode, but you're not actually working. So removing all the dead times is such a helpful thing. And just tracking your progress can make a big difference. So next time you have a big task to get done, which you really don't want to do, think about this episode and start tracking your time. You will be so much more productive. So let's put it back together. What is my plan to survive my thesis with all the productivity hacks that I know? First is blocking my most productive hours, like my life depends on it. Second is to regulate my energy and insert some energy reset hours. Third is to match my tasks with my energy levels, prioritizing my sleep, protecting my deep focus, and tracking my time and my progress. These should help me having better results in my thesis, but also navigating it in a better way and making it sustainable. Of course, I will have to test it, try it, and then adapt it. But they're a pretty good frame that you can also use if you have some big tasks to do. So if you've listened this far into the podcast, just pick one of these tips and try implementing it tomorrow. It can be setting some focus hours, it can be taking some rest, but try to implement it as soon as possible, and you will feel the difference. Of course, adjust these as much as you need so that they fit you, and keep in mind that protecting your mind, your energy levels, and your creativity will make you able to make your journey so much more productive, but also so much more enjoyable, sustainable, and healthy. So I really hope you can take out something from this episode. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next one.